I'm gonna remove myself.
Hey, everybody. I think we are live. Welcome, everybody. Oh, God bless. How are you? I'm excited. I'm here. I got Brother Kevin Fuller. I got a lot of goodies for you today. So I'm going to be in chill, relax mode. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to go over things nice and slow for you. We got a lot going on. We're going to talk about being grant ready. As you know, we talked about putting the 5 episodes we got a grant with over $1 billion. It's true. It's legitimate. It's above board. It's all up there. It's out there. About $1 billion in grants that go unclaimed. So earlier this week, I was interviewing and talking to people about different things, and I got a lot of feedback of people saying it's too good to be true. Is this, that, and the other? Is that the other? It's not real. You're going to always get that. As long as you think something too good to be true, that's as far as you're going with it. You're not checking it out to debunk it or anything. Therefore, $1 billion in grants go unclaimed. This money's for you. We're going to be talking about that. But also, before we get into that, episode 1 is out, by the way. If you go to the website, episode 1 is out. And it's grants, it's micro grants. It's from $500 to $25,000. So the next one, when it comes out here very shortly, would be $25,000 and above, taking you to the $100,000 mark. And I'll be going over some things to show you how to be grant ready. But before that, we've got some DIYs for country living. We are at our country property. We are hanging out. We're having a good time. Got a lot of things going on. Still under construction. But in the meantime and in between time, there's a lot of things you can do and to get things ready on your country property. Even when it's a little cool outside, there are some things you can do. So I'm going to bring some things to the stage for you real quick that shows you a bunch of fun things that you can do on your own to have fun. Okay, so doing it yourself as DIY. Y'all, what is DIY? Even though I know y'all know what that means. But before we get started, let's pray. Let's go with a good prayer. Heavenly Father, our God in heaven, we just thank you for who you are in our life. We thank you for your goodness, your grace, Lord. We thank you for your mercy. Lord, I pray that every day, God, but we know it's new grace, God, new mercy, God, new goodness, God, that you give us more than what we deserve. So we just thank you. Forgive us for our sins and our transgressions. Bless everyone that sees this video, God, that you touch their hearts, bodies, minds, and souls, God, and their spirits, God, restoring us to righteous spirit. By beholding, we become changed, God. We want to seek to put you first in everything you do, to be Christ-like, to be Christ-like. Thank you so much for what you do. Bless everyone on this here meeting, God, today. And we just ask your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So we want to be Christ-like in everything we do. By beholding, we become changed. So we must start to read more, do more, walk more like Christ, so that we take on that same spirit as Christ. Anything that's against God is anti-God. Anything against Christ is anti-Christ. Keep that in your mind, in the back, and keep that on your tongue, on your throat, in the back. Let it hang back there before you speak things out. Would Christ say that? Would Christ do that? And we got to try to control that a little bit. So let's have a good time. Okay. So we got some fun stuff coming up your way today, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of fun stuff. So these are DIYs, things you do on your property just to have fun. Now, I'm just going to show you some snippets, but a lot of these you can find all over YouTube that you have to take advantage of. So I talked to you all before about buying a YouTube downloader and getting you an external hard drive and downloading all these videos. They will help you. They'll be a tremendous help to you in the country. Sustainability preparation. That's what you want if the system all shuts down and goes kaput today. And it looks like we're facing that soon. With all the bills being signed, all the threats of war. China just ran off some other, went at us again with some other things there. The United States shooting down or NATO shooting down Russian drones, and Poland shooting down. All kinds of things are going on. So we need to be aware. So at any time, the grid could go down and anything could collapse. But if we've got some sense of how to survive, we're good to go. So God has given us the opportunity to make our way to the country and be sustaining. Okay, we should be preparing. I built a rocket stove a few weeks back that was so good. I was canning outside here on the country property, and it bust the bricks. I had big bricks. It was so hot, and it's still in place because there's a lot of them, but it's cooked so very well. So there's going to be a lot of things here. So there's some YouTube videos that help you create these rocket stoves. You can put together something for a small pot, make it twice as big if you want something for a bigger pot, that kind of thing. So it's always going to be a blessing there. So you place your pot on it. So this says stack bricks and cans in an L burning chamber. The brick cans, these are brick cans. These are called, because these are tall bricks. You can use cinder blocks, those kinds of things. Okay. And then it says insulate the gap with ash or sand. That way you got no air coming out. So you want to make sure there's no air there. Place your pot on the stand. And light those dry twigs and get to cooking. Okay. There's so much you can do here with this. You're just going to be having fun here. The DIY rain barrels. I got a new book coming out, and it's got over it's Country Living DIYs, and it's over 2,200 DIYs. And you guys say, Brother Kevin, you be busy. Well, God has given us some time to get things done. And I want to make sure that as much as God poured into me to pour out to you all, that I pour that out. So there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to start to see popping up on the site. There's going to be a lot of things that you see that you can use. So there's with these blue barrels, these blue drums, you guys have seen them with companies that got them that used to have chemicals or have whatever in those. Those are reusable barrels. There's a way you can even clean them to turn them into a garden. People say, you can't do that. Yes, you can. There are ways you're going to learn about how to do those in the book. There's so much stuff that's coming up. But with these blue bins or white bins, the plastic ones, you can make anything from raised beds to cut them in half or cut them long ways down for raised beds and put some wood frames under them, or put them in the ground there, just level out the ground a little bit, put them in the ground there. So if you got a rocky soil, because sometimes we got rocky areas here, so there's so much you can do with these things. Rain catching barrels. Toilets, you're going to see that a little bit, how to turn these into toilets, how to turn them into plant bushes, barrels. You'll see that in a little bit. There's probably over 2,000 uses alone with these blue barrels, and I'm going to show you a lot of those. But so you install your downspout diverter to food safe barrels. When it says food safe barrels, usually those are the ones you buy new because no chemical has been put in them, or you get them from a plant that gets in like a vegetable oil or something, and they're getting rid of those barrels. You make sure they say food safe barrels. However, if you got barrels that once had chemicals in them, there are ways you're going to learn how to treat those to make those safe as well, to catch water and those kinds of things in. So drill the base holes or the bulkheads or the snippet where you want your faucet to go in those bottoms of those barrels. And again, a lot of these are right on YouTube. And then if you go right to one of the big box stores, they sell rain barrel kits for about $29, $39. And it shows you just where to drill a hole, put a spigot on there, put a screen on top, and you can divert the water from the gutters from your house right into those barrels. And you can stack literally 7, 8, 10 barrels right next to the house. Depends on how high you want your downspout to be. And there's a way you can connect all those barrels that the top one drains all the way down to all of the bottom ones. Those bottom 4 would fill up first if you're using, say, 7 barrels or 8 barrels. And then the top 4 would fill up all the way to the last one. When that's full, that's it. The water just run over. You'll run out. But you can create 8 barrels of rainwater. You can even attach a filter system to those so that it can clean that for you. This gentleman is doing a first flush diverter. So it's a rainwater cleaner. So that you can filter that rainwater. It's a whole lot better. So you can use all that rainwater as it goes into those barrels. It's already being cleaned. Okay. So add a vertical first flush pipe. Use ball valves to drain the first runoff, which cleans that, gets all the dirt and things out of there. And then route the cleaner water into the main barrels. So you can get that first runoff. It may have dirt or dust coming down off the roof, out of the gutters, and you can get all that stuff out of there. So there is and again, a lot of this is available on YouTube, and you'll see a lot of this. It's very important that we know how to do these things, because if the water, you can literally get rainwater, but always boil it. Always boil it before drinking it. Always boil it in water before drinking it if you're getting it out of these areas. But you can use rainwater to live on, people. If it's coming off the roof, it's dirty because it's brushing up against things. Coming from the sky, it's dirty because there's lots of chemicals there. So you always want to boil rainwater. But you can really be self-sustaining and live a long time, take care of your family off rainwater, and get baths. And then if you're in an area where it doesn't rain that often, then you definitely want to preserve and save your rainwater. So if you got a big enough roof, or if you got several outbuildings on your property, you might want to hook up rain barrels in each of those locations. And then make sure you have a drain on the bottom so you can collect that water if you don't have a pump or another way to flow that water into you. But that water will sustain you. And again, always boil. Bring your water to a boil to clean any microbials, any microparasites, anything that may be in the rainwater. And then it's also good for washing and doing laundry and clothing, things like that. With doing laundry and clothing, make sure you let those, if you got a country property and it's nice outside, hang those out on a clothesline. And the reason you hang them out on the clothesline because they get to dry under ultraviolet light. And a lot of the ultraviolet lights coming from the sun kills a lot of different things that's there and protects a whole lot of other, protects the fabric. So consider drying your clothes out in the air on the clothesline. All right. DIY, a biosand water filter. You are definitely going to see some videos and show you how-tos. There's a lot of these online and you can find out which is easier for you. Why is this key? Bio meaning us, okay? Sand water filter. This is going to clean water to make everything nice and good for you. Okay, drill your outlet near the base. Okay, a layer of gravel, then a layer of sand, then a layer of charcoal. You guys have probably seen all this before. Notice he's using that same blue barrel. You can use blue barrels, black barrels, green barrels, plastic barrels, of course, better than metal barrels because metal barrels rust. Okay, and then a food grade barrel. Always keep in mind that if you have them, a food grade barrel, or look on YouTube and it'll show you how to turn other barrels that other chemicals came in into a food grade barrel. And you want to make sure you follow the steps on how to do that if they can be used for a food grade barrel, because some chemicals adhere to plastic, therefore making them not usable for certain things. But you can use them for plant beds and bush beds to grow berry bushes and stuff like that in. And so we had a good friend, had about 400 or 500 of these barrels cut straight across the middle there, and cut holes in the bottom of them to drain the water. And then he took PVC pipes and ran them all through his berry garden to water all of his plants through those plant beds. So he had quite a few of these blue barrels. So we collect these as well. You can usually find these online for anywhere between $40 to $55, $60 a barrel brand new. You go around to some agencies, some places you can get them for, reduced prices, $15, $20. And if you're careful and smart, you can get them, a little cheaper. And even 1 or 2 places give them for free. But you have to do your due diligence, hunting them down, and then know what type of barrel you're getting. If it was food grade or if it was used for chemicals, all those things are important for you to know. So, construct the filter body. And let's see what it says. It says use a drill, of course, to create an outlet hole near the bottom of the large plastic barrel. That's where you're going to end up getting the water from. Okay. Then you want to prepare the gravel and sand, rinse coarse gravel and fine sand to remove the impurities. Because if it's coarse and fine, when you go put water on, you're going to see a lot of stuff rise to the top. You want that out of there. That's why you want to rinse it first, so the heavy sand settles down in the bottom. Add the filter media, a layer of gravel, and then sand on the barrel with the sand on top, okay? And then install the diffuser plate. Okay, so this diffuser serves a purpose. Diffuser plate. Place a perforated diffuser plate over the sand layers inside the barrel. It helps keep things nice and clean and clear and solid. You don't want your water to mold or mildew or spoil or stinky from being stale, all those kinds of things. So there's a lot going on here that you want to do. So you want to make sure you follow these instructions. These are available. They're definitely available in the book I got coming up. But these will be available online on YouTube to give you another insight on how these are done. You want to be able to protect yourself with water that you're drinking. Be sure you inform your children, your family, that water that you're drinking that you collected needs to be boiled. Here's a DIY, a do-it-yourself root cellar. Okay, a root cellar, very, very, very nice. Okay, so you dig, it's shaded. It should be a shaded area somewhere where it's usually nice and cool, not in the direct sunlight. So like we have 8 acres here, and then there's 2,000 acres of forestry hooked to our land, which is outstanding. I can't dig a root shelter out there, a root cellar out there on the forestry land, unless I didn't tell nobody. But you can plant a lot of roots out there on that land in the forestry. In the forest, that'd be awesome. So find your nice shaded spot and dig that there. And you need a drain pit so that it doesn't hold water. So you need it where the back area is lower than the front area, so that water drains down. And you want to have a way for that water to drain out of there, because anytime you're digging a pit in the ground, that water would settle. You want that water to go down way further than where you're storing your product at. Place the chamber, insulate the backlift, insulate it, and then you got a backfill where you fill everything in, and then you vent with a low intake plus a high exhaust. So you got a lower area where air can come through. It's a vent, not where not where the rodents and the groundhog and all those things can come through, but just where air can flow through. And then heat rises. So you want a high exhaust. So you want you may not be a fan because it won't be electric, but you can punch some holes in the top. So of course, toward the top side where rain can't get in, but the heat that rises to the top can go out. That prevents things from spoiling real quick. So you want a cool intake and you want a high exhaust. Okay, so heat does rise. And it's cooler at the lower level. That's why we're doing a root cellar in the beginning. So dig a hole 8 by 8 feet wide and 8 feet deep. So you're going to go a little deeper than what you are tall. So make sure you have a ladder to get out. Or you'd be like, honey, please, honey, help me, please. Somebody have to pull you up out of there. Okay, so build your shelves and steps. Build your steps. Install a gravel floor, which is going to be key. Because you're doing it 8 by 8, which is going to be outstanding, you don't have to really spend a whole lot of money on gravel. Okay, so that's going to benefit you, but make sure it's a firm gravel floor that doesn't sink. And one thing gravel does also, it stops that floor from getting muddy. You don't want to have a muddy floor or a muddy area. So build your shelves and your steps, install a gravel floor. Okay, construct a plywood roof and access door. That's how you're going to be able to get in, and then you're going to have a little seam tight on that one. You don't necessarily have to put a lock on it. You don't, because you're not going to worry about somebody going in there. But make sure you have a little door there that's sealed, so when the water comes down from the regular rain, it doesn't just run in. If it does get in, however, remember you got the gravel. The gravel you pour down there is going to hold a lot of that water to keep your floor from getting muddy, and then the rest of the ground under that will kind of absorb that and all that to be good to go. So you want to keep as much water out as possible. Then you cover with soil, adding plants on top. So that's some things you're going to do. You'll figure out what that's for in a little while. I'm not going to tell you. So look those things up on YouTube, and you'll see a lot more how people do different ways they do root cellars. That's going to bless you, going to benefit you tremendously. DIY, do it yourself. Solar ovens, cardboard and foil. Look at that, cardboard and foil. Why cardboard and foil? It's cheap. It's inexpensive. If you put foil on there, foil traps heat. Foil traps heat, and then it catches the sun and it diverts that heat into your box, so into your oven. Okay, so using cardboard and foil, you can do a solar oven. So box insulated. So you see one box sitting down in the box, and you're going to put your cooking item down into that other box. So it's going to generate a lot of heat. Okay, and it can cook just about anything when you do this correctly. Foil interior, clear lid, face the sun, preheat, and use dark pots, because darkness holds heat. Darkness holds the heat. Okay, so you got a DIY solar oven. Again, if you look on YouTube, you'll see a whole lot of these and how they work. Now, these may sound like nothing to you until you actually need them. But another things these are great family put-togethers where you can bring your family together. Sometimes the kids get bored, even if they're not bored and they want screen time or TV time. You can take them away from the screen time and TV time and let them put hands-on building these projects. Keep in mind that you must use, if you have to use safety glasses, use safety glasses. If you're using any kind of electric tools, make sure that the children are being protected against those things. Hearing protection, if you got to do a lot of loud noise, cutting and hammering, those kinds of things. But keep safety in mind, be safe first. But these are great projects for kids to get out there and do and be hands-on. So just about everything I showed you is also, in a way, kid-friendly, as long as the parents are there and you got adult supervision. These would be great projects to occupy their time. Okay. Here's another great project, but you notice she's using a drill, those kind of things. A lot of these you can do with just a screwdriver, but these drills, as long as we have these tools that we can use, we want to knock these things out. She's building a smokehouse because she's smoking meat. She's a carnivore, y'all. She be eating that meat, so excuse our arms there. But we got a lot going on here. It shows you how to do these things so that you'll know how to, if you like smoking vegetables, if you like doing what you're doing, there's some great ideas here to show you how to do those. So there's a 1, 2, 3 process for those kinds of things. Then you put your little handle on the doors and keep it locked. So there's a lot here that we can do. Solar dehydrator works the same way almost as the almost like the solar oven, but this one is quite different. It's going to go ahead and dehydrate and suck all the moisture out of your plants. Okay, so build a slope collector and clear cover. So you want it a slope down so everything can drain down out of there. It's going to start to do it, drain out. You want that sun to hit it. You can rotate it wherever you want that heat coming from, and add a drying chamber with racks, vents, and dry, thin slices. Dry, thin slices. You don't put big meaty chunks in there because they may mold before they can dehydrate. You want them to hydrate. Okay, you want them to be dry enough so that you can then put them in bags and seal them. So you'll see a lot more of this on YouTube. It's just giving you 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. It's not hard at all to get those, and I'll give you more insight on those later. These are ideas that I want you guys to get busy on planning. But again, go to YouTube, look them up. There's tons of different ways you can do that. And again, these are all excellent projects. The wood, as you see, you're not spending a lot of money on wood. If you need 1, 2, 3, 4 of these dehydrators, you may spend $100 on wood, and you can make that many, because that, as you look at that dehydrator right there, that's less than $20, right? At $20 worth of wood. Okay, literally. So there's a lot that you can do. This young lady right here who's dressed appropriate, she's doing a raised bed. There, it says blue barrel raised beds, but these are not blue barrels. These are pine boards on raised beds. But there are blue barrels raised beds. I got another video for you that I'm going to show you about that in a little bit. But imagine those blue barrels laying on their side, and then you cut them straight across, and then put them in half. Then you can lift them up and put them on some wood, and then punch holes. You're going to punch holes in the bottom of those blue barrels so water drains, because you don't want water to sit in there. And then you add your fresh dirt, and then your seeds and all those things. And then you can raise those blue beds as high as you want them on a level, so that you don't have to reach down or reach them. Make sure they're not too high. As your food grows, you have to reach way up high. You can't reach everything. Make sure they're at a level so that you can be comfortable working those. And then you get a general idea how tall the food's going to grow, so that it'll benefit you, where it rises right up to the level where you can keep everything pruned and picked and clean, all those kinds of things. Okay, so she's cutting the barrel. For the blue barrel, you cut the barrel lengthwise, like I said, with the smooth edges. You want to smooth those edges out with a little sandpaper. Drill your drainage holes and add your gravel. Fill with soil and compost plants. So, and then you got your raised beds. It works the same way if you're using blue barrels, or if you're using the pine boards, or the kind of boards that you use. You don't want to use treated lumber. A lot of people try to use, some people use treated lumber. If you're using treated lumber, then there's chemicals associated with treated lumber. Okay, you don't want to do that. Just like you don't use treated lumber for your firewood. You got something called creosote. Creosote is toxic to you. So you don't want to eat it. You don't want to breathe it. You don't want to smell it. You don't want to know about it. If you're building a deck, creosote is your best buddy, because it's good to keep wood alive outside for your posts and your all banisters and all those kinds of things. But it's not good for food. Okay. All right. So now look at this one. There's another use for those blue barrels that a lot of people do not think of, and it's a berry tower barrel. Okay. It's a berry tower barrel. This just shows you how you just cut the side slits around the barrel, and then you fill gradually. Insert berry starts. Water from the top, rotate for the sun. Just a little water is draining down through there, and you see those berries start to grow. You can do this with potatoes. You can do this with a lot of things. However, you got to be able to flip this bad boy up, and you got a lot of, it's going to be really heavy when you go to get all those potatoes out of there. But when you're growing berries on the outside, they'll literally pop out and hang, grow there, and you can just come by and pick those. So there's a lot more on YouTube on how to do this. There's multiple things there. I just threw some other things up there because you'll see the young lady on the bottom there. The guy up top is making candles. He's melting wax. Go to Boca Apothecary for your flints and your ingredients and everything to make wax and whatever kind of scent and fragrance you want. Make sure you get a fragrance if you're doing candles that's not toxic. Make sure you be aware, you read the fine print, that you're getting fragrances that are not toxic, Be aware of that. But Boca Apothecary and other sites do sell things for you to be able to make and create your own candles. And you want to get those candles, you want to use the wicks that burn a long time so that you can get long-lasting candles. Okay. And another trick I tell people, in the event lights go out, you got no power, storm, what have you, solar lighting that you can buy right now at the big box stores. take those solar lights, and you know how you got your house all laid out with nice, beautiful solar lights. Well, you want to have a solar light garden outside. And the purpose for those is for them to charge during the day. And then you bring them in the house at night, hang them on the wall, flip them upside down, and light the house up. So you get solar lighting in the house at night. Okay, so just to, put them in just like a torch. Just let the sun charge it up, bring it in, put it in its holster, and it lights up each room in the house. And then you can just literally cover it up or turn it off whenever you want. But it gives you energy or lights at night. And if you're paying a light bill today, it's still something good to use because you can reduce your light bill. Use the solar lights inside your house just like you would candles. Okay. And then the other young lady here at the bottom is building a compost bin, of course, and it's showing you, she's showing you how you can put everything in there and mix that up just right. And you want to have that far away from the house. As you look up compost bins, it'll tell you different things that you do not put in a compost bin, things that are rot or trained the wrong way or won't compost properly. But it will give you some great insights on how to do a compost bin. But they're easy to build, not hard to build, and you want to consider that because it'll give you lots and lots of good nutrients for your soil when it's ready for you to plant. And especially if you're doing a lot of raised beds, that's going to be beneficial for you. All righty, a chicken coop. There are still some people out there that keeps wanting to eat the bird. Excuse me, I'm acting silly. But we want to, if you want to build it, there's instructions on how to build that. But ours, when we bought our house, it came with an awesome chicken coop. It really did. Had the hen beds inside and a piece they can walk in and out. And it had a fenced in yard for them. So it was perfect for me for 4 dogs, for the doghouse. Already set, it's got solar lights already there, just simply outstanding. But you can build these frames if you are raising chickens, if you still eat chicken, or if you still want eggs, or if you got any animal you want to secure, if you're in the country. So this is not necessarily a chicken coop. It's a protection for your pooch, because if you're in the woods, on this past week, we had the pleasure of seeing a mountain lion or a cougar, whatever you want to call it, dash across the road. And I'm like, look at that. And it was really my first time seeing one in the wild. You'll see them at the zoo all the time. It was my first time seeing one in the wild, not near our house. Realistically, I think it was about 15 miles. We're about 15 miles away. But he was, oh man, he was driving across that road. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're up north. We're up north. Here we are. There's the cat. So you want to protect your dogs. If they're outside, they need a safe place to hang out. So these coops would also come in handy. You can make them the size, for your dog. You can even have one hooked to the house. So you can have a little door to come in and out. Same thing for your cats, because sometimes cats want to get outside and catch some fresh air. So you got a cat coop, and they can go out. It can be connected to your house, and that keeps them safe from coyotes. Because if you don't protect them, the coyote's going to knock on your door and ask you, do you have another one of those little pooches? So just consider that. Instead of a chicken coop, you can also protect your animals. Okay. If you're doing chicken, don't forget to add your roost and nest boxes. Those are little square boxes that you would put up top, because chickens like to climb up high, sit on straw, and lay their eggs. Okay, so you got that one in there. A beekeeper, very easy, very easy. These kits are available if you go to thomasnet.com, THOMASNET.com. Type in beekeeper hardware, software, or beekeeper equipment, I should say. Your hardware. It'll show you the boxes, but it'll show you also how you can also find out from YouTube how you can build your own boxes and order your queen bees, order your bees, drop them in there and put them in their box. You want to order your net, your suit, and your gloves, and put them. They don't have to be really, really far away from your house, but they should be at least 200, 300, maybe 500 feet away from your house. If you're in the country, you can put them where you want, but make sure you got a clear area back there that they kept in, that you keep that area mowed and clean. You don't ever want to walk back there and walk up on a bear that's enjoying himself with some honey, and his name is not Winnie the Pooh. So you want to go ahead and make sure you got those in a nice, clean, clear area, and then also always keep your equipment on. So in case you have a resistance to bee stings, if you always keep an anaphylactic pen on hand, put one in the house if that's something or anything that can help. In case you got neighbors, friends, family, somebody come over and there's an incident, find out they're allergic to bee stings and they go into anaphylactic shock, and you're in the country, you're so far away, you may have to go get your pen and stick them. Okay, not the ink pen. Don't stick them with the ink pen and say, oops, my bad. But you might want to go ahead and do that. So just a tip or a trick, or if you guys got other, remedies and things that you can do, you want to do that. But you can raise a lot of honey. with having your own beekeeping business. So that's a great opportunity, something you want to do. If it's just for the family or if it's for profit, you can do that. Okay. Light smoke calms the bees down. Inspect the brood and the frames. Harvest capped combs only. You want to harvest the capped combs only. What that means is when you go to pick up one of those frames out of there, all the honey should have a wax cap. We see wax cap on the front and on the back. Honey's kept in those kinds of things. And they show you different ways that you can harvest the honey from those. You heat it up and melt it, and it just all drips out, and then you go take that back. But you shake the bees off before you take those out. So you're going to learn all kinds of fun stuff. And then DIY. You can do your own tinctures. There's tons and tons and tons of recipes and remedies, and a lot of the books written for herbs and tinctures and all kinds of healing properties and medicines and all kinds of fun stuff. And then YouTube has a series of videos on tinctures and shows you recipes and different things based off what you need. So these are things you can do your own self. Okay, filling your jars, covering with alcohol, using alcohol or glycerite. And steeps and strain in bottles. Everything is there. Everything steeps, strains, and bottles. Everything is there for you to do it. So look at the recipe, find out what kind of tinctures you want, get all your ingredients, and get busy. Get directions on making those. So these are DIYs, things you can do yourself. Somebody's got a cold, somebody got an issue with this, somebody got that, somebody got diabetes, or you want this for whatever ails you. Keep track of those. Make sure they're clearly marked and how you want people to use those, how those are to be used so that nobody does an overdose of tinctures. Some people find out what kind of alcohol she used. She used what? So be careful. Make sure that you put down directions on how to use each of those tinctures and keep them away from children. Keep them away from children. High, safe, and secure. In the country, you always want to keep your children in mind. Keep your children in mind with everything you do, even when you just let them go to play outside. There are unrecognizable dangers. Sometimes there's holes you don't even know about in the ground. And you get too close to the bushes or fall down a little hill, all kinds of things. So you just want to keep an eye on your children. In the home, you want to keep an eye on your children because you're going to have a lot of stuff that you didn't have in the city and a lot of things that you prepped for and have stored. Make sure those are safe at all times. Okay. All right. Cold processed soap. There's lots of recipes for various types of soap. The same site I sent you to for your candle wax, Bulk Apothecary, has a lot of things for soap. Lye is a big ingredient when mixing lye. And some people use lye, some people use other things, but mixing lye solutions carefully. The reason why, if you use lye without knowing what you're doing, you can literally melt your skin. I don't know if you guys ever heard that before. But Drano, they used to make Drano and chemicals back in the day. Well, you know about Drano, and those were lye based. Those you use to pour down your drain to eat up the hair and eat up the bio and the food product real quick to free your clot up in your drain. Because back then people were cutting up chickens raw and all that things. A lot of stuff was going down the drain, and your drains would always get clogged with food and all that stuff. These was the days before we had garbage compactors. But that lye would go down there and eat everything up. And so you want to be careful when you're using lye. You want to know the recipes. You want to have protected gloves. Eyes need to be protected. Skin needs to be protected like that when you're making soap. So mix your lye solution carefully. Melt your oils. Blend to trace. Blend to the amount of what should be, what the ratio is. If it's 1 to 4, whatever the ratio is. Pour in your mold. Cure 4 to 6 weeks. So it needs to set for a while. So if you're making soap, you need to have more than one mold. And then you'll be able to slice those bars up and then produce soap. If you're doing it for business, you can create your own labels and packaging or put them in Ziplocs or what have you and market them. So get any fragrance you want, that kind of thing. Okay. That's soap. So Bulk Apothecary, and then hit up YouTube because there's lots of videos there. I'm just taking the time to give you a lot of goodies. We're going to be talking about Grant Ready in a little bit, but I just wanted to show you a whole bunch of things. This was the lady who was doing the compost bin, a simple palette walls, layer brown, green, turn weekly, keep it moist. So a simple palette. So you use pallets to make the walls up like that. And then you put your layers of brown and green things in there, your grass, your dirt, what have you. And then start throwing compost in there. You just keep turning it and rotating it every week. And you keep that moist, keep it going, keep it moving. Okay, so the compost down. So there's a lot there that you're going to learn. Again, these are more on YouTube, so you can see a lot of these. You won't see my characters. These people work directly for me. Y'all working for me, right? They're working for me. So build a fire ring and a fire pit. The fire ring and fire pit serves a lot of purpose. A blessing for us is when we bought our home, it literally came with tons of free bricks, and tons of rocks, I should say, but tons of free bricks as well. So we're able to build an outside kitchen. We're able to build fire pits and fire rings, all those kinds of things. So these are good for you can throw, heat yourself up, enjoy yourself at night, keep the bugs away, throw grills on top. The kids can roast marshmallows or whatever you eat. There are plant-based marshmallows. Look them up. You'll see there's a lot of goodies out there. My 9-year-old made sure she looked those up and found out, Dad, there's 3 kinds of plant-based marshmallows, and they're at Walmart. You can have a great time with the fire rings and building this, and it serves multiple purposes. So go ahead and put something together there, and also you can use these to burn trash as well, to dispose of things. So you want to have your nice little fire pit. So make sure your ground under that is gravel based in there, so you're not damaging the earth, so to speak. It's easy for you to scoop stuff out as well. That's really nice, and it doesn't retain water. So mark a circle, clear the area, compact it, gravel base, stack fire rated blocks, and then have a cap to go on there. When you want to smother that fire out, just cap it off. Okay, so you guys can build those. Those are easy. There's lots of those online. And just as easy as building that fire ring is putting up your own fence, your own T-post with wire. If in the event you can't afford all the posts, you can use wood posts if you got a lot of trees on your property like we do. Got a lot of small trees. We got mature trees. We got a lot of small immature trees. And when we first moved here, of course, a lot of those had to go because nobody had lived on this land in almost 30 years. But those make good posts. As you skin those down, get the bark off of them, and you do your fire in your little fire ring that I just showed you. And as you dig your holes where your posts are going to go, take that, and it's going to go 2 feet in the ground or a foot in the ground, whatever. Take that and put it in the fire and let that singe and burn almost like a charcoal, and then put that in the ground with that post and pack that around so those posts are really nice. Use a level to make sure they're nice and straight. And because you did the charcoal piece by you let them burn like that around whatever goes in the ground, the bugs and the worms don't like that. So those posts will last a long time in the ground if you're doing your own posts. So that's a little extra you just got there. So how to build: set your corners, H base, drive your T-post, H base. You guys will figure that out in a little bit, but look it up on YouTube. It shows you how to set everything just right so everything meets just fine. H brace keeps everything nice and square. Drive your T-post down in the ground. There's a T-post driver, or you can use you can use your hammer and hit them from the top, knock those down. And then you want to keep them 8 to 12 feet apart. Then you want to stretch that wire and tie that off. Use that woven wire. Sometimes you can use, if you're using the cattle gates, which cost you a lot more, you can do that. And if you can set these in the ground, if you dug a trench around it and set them in the ground, maybe a half a foot or a foot, and then put that dirt around it, that kind of way, that's really good because it stops things from digging under them if you got any kind of live animal or anything in there. But if it's just for plants, which usually you want to cover your area so the deer don't get in there and eat all your food, then you don't necessarily have to put it down in the ground. Okay, just thought I'd throw that there. And then you put your hanging gate on there so you can get in and out without having to jump over the fence all the time. All right, almost done there with this one. Small wood shed. Wood is going to be key. The difference between small wood and big wood is you want to have several loads of wood on your property for surviving the cold. But you need to have several thicknesses of wood. You got your small kindling that you always keep in the house close to the fireplace. You want to keep that dry and supply that up every day, every week as needed. Then you got a little larger log that's sitting next to that. You'll have a little more of that. And then you got a bigger burning logs that you got next to that. Then outside, maybe on the porch, you got extra more burning logs, and then other wood that you can later make more kindling with. And then you got each of your cords of wood. You might want to get 8 to 10 cords of wood before a season starts. If you have a cold winter, like we do here in Wisconsin, most people have about 7 to 8 cords of wood that they go through in a year. Some people get away with 5, but you want to make sure you have extra cords of wood on hand. So if you can consider the ant prepare. As soon as the spring hits, you start seeing those ants, and they're all preparing. So in the wintertime, you don't see the ant on the snow because he's already prepared everything. So get your cords of wood prepared early. Okay, so you want to go ahead and build these are really great samples on how to build these, or demonstrations on how to build these available on YouTube. Okay, keep that wood dry. That way you can only really use one match because you got your kindling inside. If the wood is dry like it's supposed to be, it'll burn. And then once the kindling burn, you set the smaller logs on that, then the medium logs, then your big fire logs, and you're going. You got a roaring fire. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make those things happen. So I just wanted to bring you a little bit of this fun stuff so you guys can see what's happening there. I hope it's been beneficial for you. So there's lots of DIYs that's going to help you and benefit you and save you money. Okay, and save you money. So now that I got you guys all excited, I started doing this series on grants. And I showed you saw, I'm assuming, episode 0. If you have not, go to our YouTube channel and look at the series 0 that introduces you to grants that go unclaimed. Stop saying things are gimmicks. Stop saying things are pyramids. Stop saying that people are after your money. I'm showing you money that people won't go get. Do not be one of those persons that say it's too good to be true. If it's too good to be true, most people won't even check it out to verify it, to debunk it. I'm telling you, Brother Kevin, me sitting right here, that there's money that goes unclaimed by people because their fear or ignorance. Now, I'd rather be their ignorance that they did not know, but not just fear, because it doesn't cost you anything but time. Jump on the opportunity, take advantage of the opportunity to get this money that is available, okay, with grants. So there's a lot out there. Oh, I'm done with you. Get off of here. Get off of here. Is this the one I want? Nope, get off of there. I'm done with you. Let's go with this one. Let's take this one. Let's go here. Hold on. Bear with me. I want this one right here. There we go. And that one's done. All right. So I put together some grants that's really easy for you guys that I want you to, or some instructions that's really easy for you guys on how to be grant ready. And I'll tell you what being grant ready means. First of all, if you ever wanted to have a business, if you want to change jobs, if you hate your job, if you want a different income, if you ever wanted to help somebody, start a shelter, Boys and Girls Club, a choir, a church, books, pass out literature, food truck, car wash. I don't care what the business is, farming, agricultural. There is free. When I say free money, it's grant money, which means once you meet the criteria for the grant, you do not have to pay the money back. In the grant series that I'm teaching, it'll teach you and show you how you meet the grant criteria. And it's so simple, it's going to really shock you. You have to be able to present the idea of what you want the grant money for. You got to show the feasibility, how it would work. And then you got to show how you see the end being or the outcome for that grant. And all you have to do is fill out that paperwork for that and show that to the foundations, the philanthropists, and those people that's giving that grant. Okay. And then you also got to submit it on time, because a lot of people sleep the grants. So when you know about the fiscal years or when these grants start, you want to make sure you have your stuff submitted immediately. That's like immediately, but faster. Immediately, you want to make sure you have your stuff submitted. And I don't care, and you have to listen to me. Please do. If you don't do anything, listen to me. God says knock. Door should be open. Ask, okay, and you should have it. Be granted to you. Just ask God to grant you the desires of your heart. If you're looking for a grant for $1 million, Brother Kevin, come on, ain't no grants for $1 million. There's grants for $200, $300, $400 million. You have to have the right prospectus. You have to have that plan in order. There are people that would even help you with your prospectus, how to put a prospectus together. The idea, if you look at like the micro grants, is episode 1. That is available on our site. I launched that on the other day. No intro, but none big. It's just I wanted you to know they're out there, and I showed you how to get the money. It starts at $500 and it goes to $25,000, and it gives you step-by-step A to Z on how to apply and do that. That's available for you right now. There was even a way that you can get money within the next 2 weeks. Now, if you take 2 weeks from now and look back and say, it was probably a gimmick, it was probably a scam, that'd be your loss. That would be your loss. If you take those same 2 weeks and go ahead and apply and register with those sites, and it doesn't cost you money, register with those sites, you'll get a list of all the grants that's available, how much money is available, what they're available for, and then you'll know how to meet the criteria to apply for those grants, whether it be $500 or $25,000. In series episode 2, those grants start at $25,000 and they go past $100,000, up in the area of $200,000. So if you want to have a school, or a foundation, or if you want to feed people, if you want to have food trucks or sewing business, pressure washer, it does not matter. Does not matter. Now, if you need a grant writer, there's also grant writers, ways that you can find grant writers. We do have grant writers. We have access to grant writers that we didn't even have before. So a lot of things has just really started pouring in. We actually have a major multi-million-dollar grant writer, and he does this for a living. He has a team. And then, of course, we have our own in-house. My wife's a grant writer. We got a lot of things that's going on that we're able to help people with. But a lot of these things you can do yourself. That's the whole purpose. However, we do also have a consult team. I keep those on hand. Those people always standing by, ready to help you out. So there's $1 billion that go unwanted, goes unclaimed. Nobody reads it, unawarded, because people simply don't know this money's there. So when you miss that, it goes to somebody else for a whole different project. It'll go to bridges and roads because nobody claimed it for the year it stood there. There's a lot of grant books in your public library every year in your library. Hey, can I get a book of grants that's available today? Absolutely. But people don't go by that. So because people aren't ready on time, these grants go. There's a myth, okay? Too good to be true. Reality, competitive, deadlines, driven, compliance based. Now I'm going real slow with this one because it just sounds like I just said a whole bunch of nothing. People always say something's too good to be true. If it's too good to be true, at least check it out, investigate it, and debunk it. But when you find out it's true, jump all over it, and then don't be greedy. I heard somebody that's got a grant and was successful. Somebody else asked them to help them, and he said no. She said no. How is it hurting you to help somebody else? Remember, we're doing this for free. So to God be the glory for this one. So if it's too good to be true, check into it, debunk it. If it ain't no good, you tell somebody. These are real, the ones I show you. So reality, grants are there for you. It's reality. They are there for you. A lot of people miss them. You want to be that person that's different. So if you want sustainability, you want something to get you to the country, you want farmland, you want business in the urban area where you are to make money to move to the rural area, there are grants for you. Okay. Competitive. Yes, grants are competitive. However, because there's so many to go on claim, having competition is kind of nil. But you want to always be early. You want to register and you want to get things submitted before the deadline. Are they deadline driven? Yes, they are. But you have a whole lot of time to get it in there. So when you know that grant's going public, when you first know that grant exists, your paperwork should be submitted that week, because now you can always have these things ready. Keep track of all your paperwork, keep track of everything you do, your applying, your date, your points of contact, the phone numbers, keep all that in hand, and be compliance based, which means be ready for what they're looking for, be in order, be ready, be compliant, have everything just what they need, when they need it, when they call for it. And then when they ask you to come do a presentation, you're good to go. Okay, here we go. Readiness. Let you apply fast, clean, and eligible the day a call opens. Keep all your stuff on hand and be ready to go. So when that grant's going live, say October 1st, midnight, October 1st, or 000001 a.m., be pushing send on your grant application. Did you hear me? 00001, that's actual time, but by the way, according to our time clock, that starts the day, when we know that even in the morning is the first day biblically. But 0001 is 1 minute after midnight. That's the actual day when you can push send on your computer to send your grant in, and then you just wait. So you're going to at least be one of the top, or if not the first person, you're at least going to be in that top group of people whose grants get reviewed in the beginning. Because a lot of times, once they review those, everything is compliant, then those are the grants that really get awarded. So keep that in mind, please do. All right, here we go. Top priorities, 1 through 5. Okay, so it says lock these up first, y'all. So mission, you want to be sure you let the grant, that's how you being grant ready. You want to be sure you let the grant giver know the mission. What's your mission? My mission is to make sure that we tackle the food deserts that's in our urban cities. So I want to have a farm where I can cultivate and grow fresh fruits and vegetables to give to the urban, to bring into the stores to the urban city, or to bring to the areas to sell in the urban city. Okay, then my vision is to make sure that they don't go without fresh veggies in the hood. Okay, or I want to grow fresh vegetables in the country so people can come to my property and buy them. And that's my vision, to make sure that people have everything. So you can do that and then you got a one paragraph, why we exist. We exist through the grace of God so people don't have to go hungry when we can provide food. If we just taking it and dropping it off at a shelter. There are people, we have one called Shelter in Place, where we grow food and we take it to the shelters. They don't have to come out and get it. We take it to their place. So Shelter in Place. We take fresh food to them. Okay. So the mission, the vision, a one paragraph, why we exist, plus 3 measurable outcomes. 3 measurable outcomes. One is we know that now that pantry is good to go with X amount of food, and therefore they get to save a lot of money. The people in the pantry are getting nutrient and nourishment from that. And another outcome is we're able to help more people because we get a grant. Okay, so those things you want to keep in mind. And then legal setups. You need to have make sure you have an EIN, and then that's your EIN is your electronic number. It's like your social security number for your business, or EIN number. Okay, it's like having a social security number for your business. Okay, or a BN or a charity number. So you want to make sure you have all those in area. Okay, or in on hand. You want to make sure you have all those things. If you're corporated, you want to have a corporation. You got a board. You got bylaws, conflicts of interest policies. You want to make sure you got all those things laid out. Okay, wherever you fall in, wherever you qualify for. If you got an EIN, that's your social security number for your business. Okay, so wherever you got filled in, make sure you have all that there. And then you want to have your unique IDs and portals. Okay, you want to have everything in place. So when you go to these websites like sam.gov and like grants.gov or Canada or whatever, register with those sites. When you register with them, you get opened up. It shows you all the grants that's there. The UK, Canada, Jamaica, wherever. There's a lot here. If you start watching those videos, I got some resolve for every one of you. The UK, I got so much for you. It's not real. Canada, same way. I got lots of new product for you. Stay tuned to the series. There's a lot there. Okay, I literally targeted Canada. I literally target UK. I literally target Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica, Romania, excuse me, different places, Panama, where our people are that literally told me where they need help at. And we targeted all those to find all the resolve and all the resources. So this is going to help all of you across the board. Okay. So make sure your banking and documents, your accounts, everything is ready, because when they do cut you a check, what bank do you want this check to go to? So you guys may need to take the initiative to open, when you get your EIN number in place or your business ID in place, you want to go open a bank account, even if it takes $50, $10, open that bank account to be ready to receive the check. Because once they call you, you've been approved. They got to know where to cut the check. Okay. So make sure you got a dedicated account, not in your personal account. Make sure you know who your signers are. If it's you and another partner, part of your board, if you got a board or if you got a company, who signs the checks? Okay. Who has the control? What's your fiscal and financial policies? What are the policies? How's this money cut and distributed in your company? They're going to ask you that. Who signs off on the checks? What is the money cut for? Who does this? Who does that? Make sure you have all these things laid out. I want you to be grant ready. I'm doing a series on grants that totals over $1 billion. So I want you all to be grant ready. The class I'm giving you now is one of the classes that we'll be teaching in our school. But you guys are getting this for free because I want you to know how to be grant ready. Okay, baseline data. Okay, who you serve, current outputs, and simple logic model. So you want to have, what's your baseline data? Who do you serve? Who you serve? Well, we serve God, but who do you serve? We're serving the public. We're serving those in need. We're serving those, if we're doing food pantry, those in the food desert. If we're doing agricultural, whatever it is. And then current output, how much produce, how much do you plan to, how much are you putting out now? How would the grant assist you or help you? Okay. And then a simple logic model, how everything's set to go. Okay. So those are kind of things you, again, have to be aware of. Okay. This makes you grant ready. Top priorities. Okay. All right. 6 to 10. That says documents people ask for. So most of the foundations, philanthropists, not-for-profit organizations, or not-for-profit, I should say not-for-profit organizations, I should say grants.gov, a lot of areas, they're going to ask you for certain things. They're going to ask you for budget and match plans, cash and in kind. How much money have you received? Now, I cooked one time for the Salvation Army. I would go down there and volunteer 2 days a week and cook for them on the grill. I was a chef cooking up a storm. I had fun doing that. I was off on an injury and I had fun working for them. But I noticed the lady, the chef, the main chef, head chef, she didn't have to cook because I was doing all the cooking, but she had to do a lot of paperwork. She had to weigh everything that came in because they get a lot of their money through grants and foundations. Matter of fact, all their money, contributions and in-kind donations, those kinds of things. But she had paperwork she had to do. She had to weigh everything that was donated in pounds. And then even with the scrap that was thrown away, it had to be weighed so she can deduct it. Then she had to keep track and count of all the plates of food that they gave out. So today we fed 110 people, or we fed 200 people, or we fed 50 people, and then we had enough to feed everybody a second time with leftovers. And they have to track that. So this is what this is asking you: to keep a budget, keep a matching plan, cash in kind, a 12-month formula on how things work. Okay, audit or reviewed, financials, fiscal sponsor letters. All these things you got to keep in order. If they want to be able to come through, okay, we need to see those records of how you been for the last year, or how you used that money with the last grant, or how you did since you've been open. It's called an audit. They come in and they check everything. Make sure you keep all your paperwork in order, in files. It's very important. It's detrimental for you to get new money or more money. If you had not done this before, then you'll admit that they'll know that in the grant this is your first time. However, if you're applying for a second or a third time, it may require an audit just to make sure things have been done right. And it's so easy because you're getting paid for it. Now, remember, with a grant, one thing that you do is you put in your salary. You put in your location, your headquarters, the rent, the light, the gas. I always say, and the toilet paper. You don't use anything out of the grant. You don't use the grant money to get anything that was not in the grant. Okay, so make sure you allocate for the things that's needed. And that's how you determine how much money you need in the grant. How many people working for you? Well, you need their salaries. Where are you going to be? You need your lights and rent, all those things secured. So keep all that in mind as you start to look, start to go through things. Okay, key staff bios, plus the organizational chart and the job description. Have all that information handy. Okay, how many people are working for you? What's their job description? You want to make sure they want to make sure there's no wasteful spending, and you're not just bringing in cousin Willie and little Frankie just to give them extra money. They want to make sure everything's accounted for, so that when they pay you, that these people are doing a legitimate job. Policies, procurements. Okay, you want to keep all this stuff. Make sure there's no non-discrimination issues. Make sure there's no equal opportunity. Make sure there's equal opportunity for everybody. Make sure there's no discrimination there, and that all the data and info that you're doing on people, on companies that you feed, on organizations and everything, on files and things that people fill out, on your financial records, make sure all that data is secured and that is private. It's going to be key. Everybody cannot get on your computers. Your computers need to be hands off by other members of the family to make sure everything is squared away. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. So letters of support, companies and groups and churches and foundations that write letters on support. Make sure you got all that. Okay, that's laid out. All those things are laid out. Okay, partners and beneficiaries, all those people that's going to help you. They need to identify who all these people are. So these are things you just need to, again, have ready to be grant ready. Now here's some priorities. Okay, for readiness. Work plan with milestones, timelines, and deliverables. So lay out the work plans. So, okay, we'll give you this money. What's your work plan? Okay. What hurdles do you have to get over? What kind of timeline? About how long is it going to take you to get those things done? And then when can they expect the deliverables? Okay, so you need to know what all these things are and how to do all these things. So you don't want to say, okay, no, I can't believe it. Brother Kevin was right. I just got $56,000. But what do I do now? Do I just start spending money? No, you should have already had a plan laid out on what it is that you were going to do, because remember, you had to present the vision. You should have already laid out a plan on what was your next step once you received that money, how to order the product, have a place for the product to come to if you don't have a place yet, what equipment's needed, all those kinds of things. So, and then being able to deliver what you say, because you will get audited. Now, Brother Kevin, can I go to jail if my grant ain't right? Yes. If they find out you've been embezzling or stealing money and not doing what's right, sinning, what it says, sin, a transgression against God's law. We should be honest and above board all the time. But yeah, you can be in trouble for that. So you want to make sure that you have everything in order, laid out, ready to go. Okay. Then you want to have an evaluation plan. You want to be able to check the data. You want to check everything. You want to check. You just want to make sure you above board with what you do. Okay. And then now listen. What's your sustainability plan? Past the grant, past that grant period. You should have had a business plan laid out that you have something self-sustaining so that once that grant is gone, your business can keep going. So you should also have a like if, for instance, if I'm growing produce and I'm getting money from the grant to feed a shelter, I should also have a for-profit or a way that I can also sell produce to generate income to keep it going after the grant, so that I don't have to rely on the grant every year. And the grant doesn't want you to rely on them every year. They want you to be up on your feet and be self-sustaining on your own, okay? So keep all those things in mind. So how do I become sustainable? And then what is your risk register? Okay, so you want to know all about these things. You want to know everything that you got to do, what that you can face. Would it be termites? Is your food secure, or what's the likelihood you go out of business? Is your rent being paid? Or what kind of building are you in? All kinds of things. Who are your vendors? Who are your suppliers? You want all this stuff laid out up front. These questions will be asked to you. Okay. But this sounds complicated. No wonder people don't apply for a grant. No, this is everyday stuff that happens with anybody who actually literally has a business. All these things that I'm mentioning to you is just to make you aware of how to be grant ready. Because some of these you don't have now, you won't have it until you get your first grant and or money. But you also do need to be researching where you are going to get the supplies, what kind of service you're going to provide. And those are things that a consultant, which is what we do, can help you with. Okay. And then you can put together a storyboard. You want to have a storyboard, 3 to 5 short. Okay. So what this is laid out for, these stories are laid out for, is for you to give a clean cut view. They'll be able to see these in slides, okay, on how these things work for you. Okay. So have a quick storyboard with photos and everything right there to release. Have that all set up. PowerPoint presentation or whatever. This is how this business is going to flow. This is how it works. Okay. So have those things laid out and ready to go as well. Okay. Fit and eligibility. Read the calls like a lawyer. You need to understand and be professional at all times. Who can apply? Okay. Any type. Okay. Geography, years in operation. You want to know all this stuff. You want to know everything here. Allowable activities. Okay. Cost shares, match requirements. You want to have everything again laid out. No way up everything. Okay. What weighs the highest? What's most important thing? Step by step. Deadlines, portal requirements, workshops, format or workspace formats, page limits, disqualifiers, things that hurt you, being late, being incomplete, wrong entity, missing attachments. Make sure everything is checked and rechecked. Make sure you are tight. Okay, your scoring rubric, what weighs the highest? Your deadlines and portal requirements. I'll tell you that. Workspace, format, page limits, all this kinds of stuff. You got a lot here that you have to be aware of, but you won't be missing a beat because we laid it all out for you. You'll be just good to go. Okay, so country living and sustainability focus. That's who we are. That's what There Are People Ministry is. We have an awesome team here that backs you up with whatever kind of help you need here. So tie projects to food. This is if you're trying to get a grant for these particular things, dealing with country living and sustainability focus. And I'm telling you, there's so much money here for this that it's really unbelievable. You can literally walk off your job with the right grant. It'll give you so much more because you can literally write, and this is not an exaggeration, you can write a 6-figure salary with a grant. You can write a high-end 2-digit salary with the grant. You just got to put the work in, make sure you're doing it. You got to show a feasibility piece so they'll know this is legitimate and ready. You got to have all your ducats in a row. Okay. So tie project to food security, water, renewable energy, and rural jobs. If you're tying projects to those, you're going to be awesome. Show community benefits, co-ops, farmers, youth, and seniors, how you are helping people. Tie all that in. Leverage faith-based eligibility where allowed. So we are spiritually based. We are spiritually backed. There are people in ministry and a God that can help. Okay, same way with your ministry. Make your charity or make your grant or the project you're going to do with your grant. Make that your ministry. Make that your ministry because there's a lot more money available there. So leverage faith-based eligibility where allowed. Some grants will directly contribute to faith-based entities. Okay, if I'm saying that right, entities. So you want to make sure you do that. Okay, no compromise. Okay, of beliefs. We won't bend the knee. We won't know if the grant requires us to serve only on Sabbath, do things only on Sabbath, and we know we're Sabbath day keepers, and we cut it. If it requires you to do things that's against God's law, and we cut it. We don't need it. If it's requiring you to work with people that's not, doing what's supposed to be done, and we don't need it. Next. So don't compromise with anybody or any of the wrong beliefs. So go for it. Don't sell your soul. Grants are not worth. No money's not worth selling your soul for. It's not worth it. Okay. Plain land, wells, solar, soil test, and training components. Okay. So lay everything out. What do you need for it? We need wells, solar, soil test, whatever. Line all that up, lay everything out. Okay. So you want to line up vendors, people that if you're selling something, line up vendors and quotes. Now, let's see. Now for fast budgets later, that's going to show something. That's going to come something else. It's kind of baffling me right now when I'm looking at them like line up my vendors. I had those lined up already, but this. You want to get quotes and prices on various things because one thing they ask you to do is compare what you're getting, that you're getting the best price. You can really pull up 10 or 12 vendors and say, I had all these prices. This one or these two give me the best prices for what I have. So you want to have quotes. You want to have all those for fast budgets. So what I mean by fast, they want to give you money right now. You want to be able to buy this right now. You got to get this right now, jump over right now. You want to have all those things on hand. So that can be checked for you. Faith and integrity. King James, Ellen G. White. Inspired. That's how we want to do everything. It says operate with truth, stewardship, and service at the center. So we want to be able to make sure that everything we do is above board. You do not need to lie on a grant. You need to rely on God. You do not need to lie on a grant. You do not need to stoop, bend, or bow to get $1. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. If you believe in your faith, if you're strong in what you do, God will provide. And then he has 1,000 ways. If you thought of one, he has 1,000 more you have not thought of. So these are just opportunities, but don't sell your soul, okay? Avoid grants that demand mission drift and compromise. If it causes you to drift off into doing other things that is unbecoming, leave them alone. If it causes you to compromise with your true belief, leave them alone. And those are ways you can do your research. And trust me when I tell you, there are grants for the same thing from different foundations under different names. So if you went to one and it caused you to compromise, resubmit to other ones. And because I tell people that when you submit to a grant and you get approved, you can take that same submission letter and send it to other different grant companies and get reapproved for that same grant because it gives you more money to work with. Okay, this is free money, but don't compromise with anybody that causes you to do something wrong. Documents. Ethical, safeguard, and accountability to the community. You have the right to make sure, and the community has the right to make sure everything is on the up and up and legitimate, but you need to safeguard everything you got. So document ethical, safeguards, and accountability to the community. You owe that to them. Use simple language, keep your promises, measure what matters. Measure what matters and keep your promises to people and hold on to your ethics. You want to be just right all the time with God. You want to be just right. Where to find legit grants with no fees required. Okay. If I was on the Zoom, I'll be taking a break right now, but I'm going to go right through. And some of you guys may have questions. So if somebody sees some questions that I don't see, please chime in and let me know. So you can stop me at any time. But I'm going to show you people now what's going to be key for you. You're going to find where to find a lot of your legitimate grants in the U.S. is grants.gov. SBA.gov, USDA Rural Development, U.S. Department of Agriculture. With those three alone, go there tomorrow or Monday. The first week, you should register with all of them. Register completely. These don't cost you money. These don't cost you money. If I was saying when I was out, don't cost you nothing. Don't cost you nothing. These don't cost you money, but you do need to register to be compliant and then know all the grants that they do have available. So please go ahead and register that. Okay, go ahead and register with the US, with grants.gov, SBA.gov, USDA Rural Development, and then HUD, I believe. There's a few other ones that you want to register with. There's a lot of grants there. I'm going to show you some more. Canada, same thing. There's going to be business benefit finders there in Canada, canada.ca. You can register the UK. You can do the same thing, gov.uk, and the National Community Lottery Community Fund. These are ones that don't cost you anything, no fees required. Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, DBJ, Ignite. So you want to go ahead and register with those. And there's a few more. There's more because I got a lot for each of your areas, each of your countries. But go ahead and do that. And then cross-check the official .govs, .gc, .ca, .gov UK or agency sites and see what else is available. Register with all of them so that that's your first thing to do. Now you start qualifying. Then you get a chance to start to look at grants they have in their database and look at if it's something that you want to do or what matches up with what you have in mind. That's going to be key to get you going on to that next level, okay? Many grant banks. I got many grant banks, United States examples. Okay, so grants.gov, all federal opportunities. So register, UEI plus SAMs. You want to register with these. USDA Rural Development, Rural Business Community Grants. Register with them. SBA, SBIR, STTR, Community and Organization Agreements. Select small grants. Remember, start there. Start small. Don't jump off and say, I want a $50 million grant. You don't know anything about running a $50 million business. There's so much required there to include lawyers, attorneys, big time. So much big stuff is required there at that level that it's unbelievable. But you can work your way to that level, and there is money available at those levels. But you won't start off the ground with that. It's just not going to happen. Now, before I move on to the next part, you make sure you do register with all these. But when you get your first denial letter, you've been denied. You've been denied. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Your denial is actually progress because now you're in the system. You're on file. Plus, you find out why, and then you know what things have to be changed. That's a benefit. Trust what I tell you. Remember, you heard that here first. Your denial letter goes as something good. You keep that in your file. I got a question just popped up. It says, what are the first 3 things I should do to become grant ready? I went over that, and I'll go over it again. You'll get all that later. But this video, you'll be able to watch it, and you'll be grant ready. It'll show you how to be grant ready. But the first 3 things you must do is first, I should tell you, register with grant.gov. Register with SBA, register with all the grant sites first that's in your region and or country that are free. Register with those sites. That's really first. Lay out your idea on what you want to do with a grant, what it would be for, what's your business idea, how you see that vision. Do that. And then the third thing you do is as you register with those grants, then go onto those sites and look for grants and see what the criteria is and get things ready to start applying for that. Seek help. If you need grant consultants, we do have grant writers and grant consultants at therearepeople.org. Go on the consult and you get help there. Or you can find tons of people that do grants. I will tell you this as well. Grants, when you start to write for the bigger grants, when you need a grant writer, a lot of these grants are at a level where you can simply apply for your small micro grants on your own. You really can't. Trust me, you can. But when you start to get toward the bigger grants, you might need grant writers because they put together things on a level using words we never heard of. So I even put together an identifier when you get words like SBA or SBIR, STTR, letters like that, you don't know what they mean. I even put that into the grant classes so you can know what all those mean because they use a lot of shortcut words. But grant writers know about all those things and they know how to put all those things in what order to get those grants approved. But grant writers start at about $3,000 on the low end and they go up from there. That's not a problem because, you know, when you get that grant approved, you're actually making money. But don't be afraid and don't let nothing scare you away because this money is there. And trust me when I tell you there are $1 million businesses that got their money and are getting their money from these grants. If there's $1 billion every year that's going unclaimed, people, that's a lot of money sitting out there, okay? So any other questions, make sure you pop them up again. I like how that popped up. So USA Gov, Facts on grants versus loans. Beware of free money scams. So here's the deal. If a company is charging you, if you want to register for a grant, they say you need to pay such and such and such first. You need to look that company up and be aware of that, okay? Because you want to know if that company is legit. Because most of the grants, you don't have to pay anybody to apply for them if you apply for them legitimately, unless there's something going on. So there are some grants that you have to be aware of. If people just say free money, free money, free money, free money, it's really illegal to say free money when it's related to grants. Now, if you said free money in a question, free money, is it? Because there is things and steps you must do, and then there's things you must qualify for and things you must follow through, or you can get yourself put in jail, and we don't want that. Okay, there's a question. What basic documents do I need before applying for a grant? That you're a legitimate business, that you have everything in order, a plan for what it is that you want to do, that you have an EIN number, or that's your electronic identification number, EIN number. That's like a social security number for your business. Or if you got a not-for-profit, or if you got an LLC or a for-profit, make sure you got those document numbers handy, and then have a bank account open. Okay, and then the particular letter presenting on what you want to do so they can see the vision. So those are basic documents and things that you need to apply for a grant. Okay, thank you for that question. That was pretty good. All right, let's go on. I'll keep putting those questions up there. I got you. I'm with you. All right. How do I show capacity and capability in a grant application if I don't have financial records yet? Simple. You're just going to let them know you're applying for the first time. That's all. It's really simple. That's why we started with micro grants. Because usually with people that start with the larger grants have already established something. However, with micro grants, which is where we start with $500 to $25,000, that's usually associated with people starting something new that has not done anything, that's just barely registered their company and or their idea. Okay, so that's where you are. So don't let anything scare you away. So your question was, how do I show the capacity and the capability? Well, that you got to show in the vision. Okay, so you got to write the vision, write the plan, make it plain, that kind of thing. Write everything down, make it plain so they can see that. And I gave you those steps in here. And then you won't have financial records, but you will have an idea on how you plan to spend that grant money. And that's what they want to see in your first piece. Okay, so that is another good question. Thank you. You're helping me out here. I like it. Okay, what mistakes do people without startup money usually make when approaching grants? Excellent question. Thank you, whoever you are. What mistakes do people make without startup money usually make when they're approaching grants? They forget to include, I'm going to say this as a joke, but it's really real. They forget to include the toilet paper. Now, I always say something like that to catch you off guard, to make you think. When you want to start a business, you must encompass everything that it takes to run a business. The house you're going to be in. If you're going to be in your own house, then you need to include your own house as rent, because it is your office space. You need to include the toilet paper, the coffee machine, the toaster, the water bill, the light bill, and the gas bill. You need to include part of all of that because you're using your house. If you rented a building, you would include all of that so that the grant gives you the funds to buy everything: the paper towels, the toilet paper, the hand soap, to pay the utilities, the water machine, the filter, everything. All that's included in the grant, and your salary. And people forget to write those things in. And a lot of people get in trouble because the grant was for $15,000, but they didn't put them a salary in there, or they didn't put the money you needed to pay the light and the gas bill. They only put what it took to buy the produce, and now you still, or the product, and now you don't have any money to do everything else. So make sure you find a grant that's appropriate for whatever you need, or make sure you have the funds to cover the rest from another source. But remember, I also told you that once you get approved for one grant, you can reapply for that same grant from other entities. And whatever it was, $25,000, now you got 4 approvals coming in from 4 different grant people. So now you got $100,000. That's legal. It's not something you have to report to each other. Now you have something to go ahead and be successful. But make sure you include your salaries and all those kinds of things. How can we benefit from a grant if it stands to be from a nonprofit organization? How can we benefit from a grant if it's sound to be from a nonprofit organization? Extremely easy. I kind of almost don't understand that question. Remember, just because you're with a non-for-profit organization doesn't mean you don't get paid. Your salary's in there. include your salary, include the resources that it needs for you to be sustainable, or really that grant serves you no purpose. You're going to just go buy something to give to somebody else, but now it didn't count for your gas and travel and on how to get there, those kinds of things. Excuse my lights here in the studio, they're blinking on and off for. But you want to make sure that you be aware of those things and how to do those things so it can profit you very well. And you can be very sustainable if you do things decent and in order. So say, for instance, you got a grant to grow food, cherry tomatoes, cost you $200 for, about $200 for a large pound bag of cherry tomatoes to put on a 50, I think it's like 50 something dollars a pound or something. I may get it wrong. But for you to buy enough cherry tomatoes to grow on an acre. And I always tell you that acre of cherry tomatoes, it takes 3 people to manage that. And it's about $200,000, $170,000, $150,000 sometimes to $200,000 per acre. Well, one benefit there, that grant just covered that. Okay. And it just gave you enough money to pay those folks and then everything was there. But now you got seed for next year. Now you got some other things that you can do. Now you got produce for next year you can grow on that. Or if you bought a little extra, now you got more that the farm can also have a for-profit part associated with it as well. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities that's out there. So that's how you can benefit from grants. And if it sounds to be, if it's for a not-for-profit, there are still ways that you still write your own salaries in there, and you can use your salary money to make other things beneficial for you as well. Okay, so consider that. Keep that in mind. All right, so let's see. Let's go to this. Keep bringing the questions. I don't have a problem with that. Mini grant bank. Okay, this is for Canada. Canada, grab a snapshot of this. There's a lot of grants there for you. And I put together a mini grant bank, but I have a master grant bank for you as well, Canada. I'll be presenting it to you all. And then I think next month, I got a big piece with the UK, and I got a lot of resolve for the UK as well. So UK, get ready. I think I'm coming live to you guys again, like we did before, about 2 or 3 in the morning here. So get ready, UK. I'm going to have a lot of goodies for you, but please reply back and let me know what you need. If you guys are watching me now and you're in any of the other countries, if you think you by yourself, you're not alone. You have a whole team here. So respond back to me, and I'll do you just like I did with Canada, with the UK, with Trinidad, Tobago, with Jamaica. We're finding resources for you, and they are there. With my background in investigation skills, honestly, we do some real deep searches, and we find all kinds of resolve, and that's what I want to bring you guys. Okay, but Canada, you got a picture of that. There's a lot there for you with AAFC. You got a lot there. Indigenous Service Canada programs. There's a lot there. So grab a picture of that and jump all over it. Okay. And then there's a bank for the UK. You thought I forgot about you, United Kingdom. I got you. Okay. So gov.uk, National Lottery Community Fund. There's a lot there. Department specifics is that word schemes? We don't want to do any of that. But there's a lot of grants there for you. Okay. So innovation for the UK, local authorities and combined authority opportunities. There's a lot in the UK. This is nothing. This is just a little mini bank I thought I'd put there for you. Okay. Here it says, what if we reach out to you and we don't get any answer? Is there another way to reach out? Yes, it is. Keep reaching out to me. And forgive me if I get bogged down. But now that I've gotten a lot of my writings, a lot of my things out of the way, and I really have been busy doing research and resources just for you. When you catch me on these Zooms, make sure you post up those hard questions. I'll give you my number and then text me first. Make sure, just text that to me. I'll read it. Text it to me. Trust me, and I'll get back to you. Sometimes I do get bogged down because there's a lot of people that's calling. There's a lot to do, but I really I've been taking advantage of what God has given me to do all of this research. I look kind of dark on the camera, so forgive me for that. But I've been taking advantage of the opportunity to do a lot of research to get resolved for you all. So bear with me as we start to get more. So you'll be able to reach me. So my phone number, you guys can reach out to me, but text me first, 608 area code 295-6820, 608-295-6820. And text me the whole detail, who you are, your name, address, everything. Let me punch that phone number in. Then I go ahead and I put all these on the calendar to get back with you guys. Okay. We got a lot going on there. Let me see if I can lighten up this screen a little bit. Bear with me. Don't y'all make fun of me. Let's see if I can lighten up my screen. Nope. It's already lit. It's lit up all the way. So there's lots of resource for you, and I want to be able to take care of that for you guys. Okay. Won't I have to return any assets I would acquire with the grant money if I won't continue with the program or activity? Yeah. If you start something with a grant, and you're not going to walk it through, you have to return that because you have to give an accountability for how those funds were spent. Okay, it's very important because the IRS checks that, and you have to do that with a letter. That's really simple, not hard to do. However, don't start something you don't want to finish because you don't want to blow your chances the next opportunity when you say, okay, this time I'm ready. No, you want to be there. So one thing I tell you, key, and that's a good question, by the way, when I have to return the assets or anything you buy with a grant, you really don't have to return it. It is yours. Even if when you walk through that grant, get everything done, it's yours. They don't say, okay, we got a building, you can bring that stuff back to and leave it there. That's not how it works. They just want you to give account of what happened, why it failed, those kinds of things. Then they close it out, so to speak. But you're not getting a grant to go buy a Mercedes Benz and then say, oops, I'm done with this grant and close it out. But no, give an account of everything has to be tracked and counted and logged in. But then if you feel you don't want to get with that grant, partner up with someone else that could help you be sustaining in that grant and include their salary, and that'll be a benefit for you. Okay, so you're welcome for that, by the way. Okay, let's see. Information on grants available for St. Lucia. St. Lucia, why are you just now connecting with me? What is wrong with you, St. Lucia? Wait till I see you. I could look that up. Thank you, St. Lucia, and we'll make a note of St. Lucia. St. Lucia, I don't know where you are. I know you're one of the islands. I don't know if you're near Trinidad, Tobago. I don't know if you're near Jamaica. I know you're out there somewhere. If you're close by those, I think the same things may apply, but I can do a dive in that for you. So you may connect or contact with me. Let's see what we can do. And then let me know how many people we're talking, what your regions are, and I'll do some research for you as well, and what your interests are, I should say. Okay. Will there be a replay we can watch on your page? Yes, you're actually now on YouTube. So this will be on our YouTube page. So sign up to the YouTube channel. And one thing I want to ask you guys for is please, you know how people say like and subscribe, share this with other people, because remember, this is coming to you absolutely free. I've done the research. I didn't say give me $20, give me $10, give me $4. All I'm telling you to do is let other people know that these resources are available and stop saying what's not there. You know how many people done died, gone, saying that it was too good to be true. They did. They tell you the richest treasure is in the cemetery, and it's the brain and minds of people who died with ideas that they never materialized. If God gives you an idea, if you have an idea to do something, let it materialize with these grants. And if you can't do it by yourself because you can only think of good ideas, then partner with somebody who has the business sense to bring this to fruition. Okay, partner with somebody. Call us. We'll match you all up with help. Your board, your team may be here on this call, on this stream. It's people that you can match up. Will there be a replay? So yes, you'll be able to watch this on our page, and it's YouTube. It's there are people -YouTube. Okay, so you can watch this. Okay, what happens if you don't know how to do grants? I'm here. What do you mean? Kevin, I need help. Rita, I need help. Team, there are people, I need help. We got consultants. Go to our website, therearepeople.org, hit the consult button. We have consultants there, and it's not a lot of money. And yes, you have to pay for consultants. I had somebody say that you guys are just like the other church, you're all about money. Where are we all about money? If you're asking a person to spend an hour or 2 hours with you personally to give you some resolve on something that's not church related, then there's an hour you must pay for. If you get a lawyer, he'll be $500, $600 an hour. I think our work starts at for the consult, I should say, starts at like $75 an hour for grants. And when you actually get into a grant writer, that's going to be different. But for assistance, we have one of the best prices there, because that's also our job in most cases, and our ministry is separate from that. So as you need help, we have help available for you. So if you don't know how to do a grant, we got you from A to Z. As a matter of fact, that's in one of the 5 courses that I'm giving for free on grants. That's with this $1 billion grant. And then we're also going to have in our school, and you guys have not heard of Healing Proper Short Course Academy. Healing Proper, in other words, be able to heal proper spiritually, physical, spiritually, and financially. And we launched an academy called Healing Proper Short Course Academy. These are short courses designed to give you the full impact of a big course without throwing in English and math and Spanish. So it gets you right to the point and resolve, showing you courses you want to choose, study and learn everything from A to Z in an 8 to 12 week period. So Healing Proper Short Course Academy coming your way very, 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 very soon. And all of those are actual full courses, the certified courses. And then at the end of the course, you got all the resolve you need to launch a business. You can launch a business almost while you're in the course, but we will not leave you lacking for anything there. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's coming very shortly. I told you all before it was coming, those things we waited on. Okay, what's the name of the grant that's available within a 2-week time frame? Those are all of you. So there's a lot of grants there. So you're saying how to get money faster, I believe is what you're saying. Grants that you can get in a 2-week time frame. If you go to micro grants on those sites that you're going to register with, those are your fast money grants. Okay, and then in the video that you watch on my site with video 1 I've done, I show you how to get those short money. I show you shortcuts to the fast money. Shortcuts to the fast money. So that'll be there for you. Okay, so there are a lot of grants there. Is there any grant opportunities for Benin, Africa, and Haiti? That I don't know, and it's y'all's fault. Y'all, not you, but y'all, because you can't take long to reach out to me. Let me do some research. Haiti, I can't promise you. Africa does have some, but I got to know, again, you said Benin, so I need to know those specific areas. And then we can start to look that up. We'll make a note on that. I'll have my team make a note on that. Haiti, I'll reach out because part of Haiti is I believe still in kind of a chaotic piece. And then there's other sections to Haiti, but I'm almost sure there are grants that's there. And I don't know with areas that are kind of, and just as me talking, forgive me if I'm saying anything wrong. Some areas were kind of like lawless or crime ridden, that kind of thing with things going on that was out of control. So I don't think there's any grants that fund those areas. And I could be wrong if they've gotten all that under control, but there are some areas in Haiti that did have some grants. So I'll do more research for your part. So forgive me, and I'll be all over that. So we're going to make a note of that, and I'll get back with you. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? All right. Mini Grant Bank, Jamaica. Here we are, family. Here you are. Here we are. We're in the Caribbean. So the Social Investment Fund, we told you about that. Development Bank of Jamaica, Ignite, we told you about that. Chase funds, there's a lot there. What's in the Caribbean? Here you are, Caribbean. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Take a picture. Take a picture. Let me pose. So yeah, there's your Caribbean. There's a lot of grants. I have a major big bank of grants available for Jamaica for you. I do. This is just a mini bank just to show you some that are here. Okay, but there's a lot for you. So I hope you got a picture of this and you'll be able to see this again. If you need me to flip back, I can, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it. All right. And then here's some common disqualifiers. So you want to fix these things early. These are common things that get you disqualified. Okay. So you want to be eligible. You don't want to be ineligible entities. Okay. Geographically, you may be, or you may be in the wrong area, or you may be missing the registration or that ID. Make sure you got all your IDs, identification. You will have to verify who you are. Make sure you have all those things right. Okay. Make sure you have all those things. You don't want to be an ineligible entity. You don't want to be that. You want to be a geographically sound. So you don't want to be in Jamaica and apply for a grant in Chicago. Just using y'all as an example there in Jamaica. You understand what I'm trying to say. You want to make sure you're in the right area for that grant, that it represents wherever it's sent for. Okay, that it's approved for. Late or incomplete submissions, wrong file format. You want to make sure all your stuff is, all you got to do, my people, is not sleep on this. Not sleep on it. Everything I'm teaching you, what people say is too good to be true, is not. It's easy. And then you're simply doing common sense stuff. Get it in on time. When you're in school, get your paper in on time. When your test is late, you get an F. Or you fail your test, you get an F. This, get it in early, get it in time, make sure it's complete, make sure it's on the right file format. It will tell you, I need this on a PDF or Word format or what have you. Lay it out like this. They'll tell you what to do. Make sure that's all done. Seek help if you can't get that done. Seek help immediately. Immediately. That's like immediately, but faster. Seek help immediately to make sure that's right so you can submit it on time, okay? Weak budget math. Make sure your budget is right. Don't do weak budget math. Well, if I just get $25,000, I know I can get all this, I can get all that, I can get all that, I can pay him, I can buy this. Detail your budget. Know the actual cost of what things are going to cost. Include taxes. Well, unless you got a tax exempt, but include that. Include travel, include whatever. Detail your budget so you know where you're at. Okay, it says, how much are y'all services for the grant? How much are y'all services for the grant? Where you at? How much y'all? That was country talk. No, I'm just kidding. So how much of our services? It depends on what your needs are. So let's find out what your needs are for first. As we talk, find out what grant you want to, if you're just looking for an idea and you don't know what grant you want or what you want to do, then you want to consult. A consultant is like $75. Realistically, I'm giving you those numbers. Go right to therearepeople.org, look at a consult, book a consult with myself or one of the team members. Anyone can help you. And then they start at about $75. Really. But even if you don't have an idea, that's a good thing to do, by the way. If you don't have an idea, because I have over 2,000 ideas that's laid out in detail, basically for you, that can give you some insight on what you want to do. And I'm going to go over some of those. But back to where we were. Do your math, know what you're requiring, and have everything laid out. Okay, so don't do weak budget math. Okay, make sure everything is laid out. No evaluation plan. If you don't have that, or if you have a vague outcome, they have no idea, you got no partners, it's going to be hard on you. When I say partners, who are you planning to get your product from? Who are you partnering with? Who are you helping? All those kinds of things. So if you're making a deal to help, say, shelters, then get a letter of approval from them shelters to show that, yes, he's donated to us before, he helped with us before, this is what we plan to do, all those kind of things. We partner with them. If you got people that's going to donate food to you, like I had companies that donate us food, partners, you can get letters for those. Have an evaluation plan. Have all those things laid out. Don't be vague. Don't keep things from the people that can give you these grants. Okay? Ignoring compliances. You don't want to ignore any laws. You don't want to ignore any. You got to be compliant with every statute, every law, just like God's commandments and statutes. We have to be compliant to make it into heaven. Sin will not be found in heaven again. Okay? Equal opportunity employers. You have to be fair, no matter if a person's black, white, green, or gray, light green or light gray. You still have to be fair to everybody. And then safeguarding is so very key. Everything you have, all your documents, all your people, the plan, the whole idea, everything must be safeguarded and secured. And then procurement, how to secure. Everything have to be in order. If you're not tight on these things, these are disqualifiers for you, okay? ABC, workflow, form ideas to submit in 10 steps, okay? I'm going to go over this. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing through this. I want you guys to know, because my wife gets on me all the time, you're talking too fast. I want to take my time, but you guys will be able to see this video later and go through it really nice and slow. But then please don't forget to call your cousins, uncles, nephews, nieces, brothers, and sisters, and tell them to also watch this video, because this is for you and them. People, you can, if you don't have a job, you can get this money. I'm telling you, it's sitting here. I'm not making this up, okay? I retired a private investigator, a business investigator, industrial investigator. These things are here now, and people are sleeping this, okay? So don't pass on it. Hey, Margarita, I see you. All right, so let's clarify. Here we go. ABC workflow from ideas to submit in 10 steps. A, clarify problems, beneficiaries, and outcomes. Okay, so a logic model, lay all that out. Okay, the beneficiaries are the people that receive things from what you're doing with your grant. Okay, lay out the outcomes. So B, build an eligibility plus registration. Build eligibility plus registration plus documents. Have a checklist with all these things laid out. Okay. Calendarize your calls. Keep everything in order. Know what calls are coming in, know what calls you're making, know who's in need of what you plan to do, who you're talking to, okay? Draft a core narrative and budget template. What is the narrative of this business? Let's lay everything out. And a template on how you see things going, the structure of your company from A to Z, who's in charge, who's in line, what's next, where you order from, what's going through, how you manage your waste, garbage disposal, how dollars are spent. But lay everything out what you're going to be spending on, and then you'll know how much money you got set aside. Okay. D. Before I go to D, let's read this. Would I be able to find a grant to open a health food store oh, absolutely. Yes. Or hygienic restaurant. Absolutely. There's so many grants available for opening a health food store and a hygienic. Yes. There's a lot there. Restaurant. You know what? True story. You can get a grant to open a doctor's home health visit for doctors to go out to people's house, and you don't even have to be a doctor. All you got to do is do a feasibility piece, lay it out, put together the plan, the proposal, lay everything out, and then they'll give you the grant for it. You hire the doctors, and the doctors bill the person, say $600 an hour for going out to their house, but you paying the doctor $400 an hour. You make $200 an hour for the business. There are so many ways that you can do businesses with grants. The health food store, absolutely. I even show you where to buy the product you need for the health food store from the manufacturer. So yes, to answer that question. Okay. Would I be able to find grants? Yes. Okay. D, secure partners. Make sure you got partners in your business. Partners with the suppliers, who's going to give you the equipment, who's going to help you do things, who's going to supply you. Make sure you got letters from people you partner with that you're looking to help, all those kinds of things. Vendor quotes. Make sure you got prices from where you're buying stuff from, and matched commitments. So make sure you cover these things. You don't want to go with the first vendor either. You want to make sure you got like-minded vendors that's knowing who you are, that's got the same product you can get the best prices on. Have all those papers and keep track of those records. Record keeping is key. So in your budget for the grant, make sure you budget for a record keeper, secretary. Okay, make sure you budget for that. Okay, remember I told you that. E, draft internal reviews, compliance checks, and submit early. Make sure when they request those things, you have everything laid out. Submit early for these grants. Do not sleep these grants. Okay. Clarify problems, beneficiaries, and outcomes. Lay all those things out. I'm telling you, that's going to be key. So I wanted you guys to be grant compliant and be grant ready. So this ends that, but there's a lot of things, more things there that you guys can do. There's a lot more ideas. So I'm going to sit here now. I'm going to read some questions from you all and see what we got. Are the master classes in October going to help us with all this? Also, if you don't know what to start with in the master class, help with this. Wait. Start with the master class. Help with this. Okay, so I'm thinking the way you've written that you want help with what you want, with whatever you want to learn. So the master classes are going to walk you through. It's always going to be this is not an A to, this is a sort of like an A to Z on how to apply for grants and what grants are all about. But with the master class, you're actually going to have hands-on. You're actually going to be you also need to talk with grant writers. You're going to have an insight in the beginning on grants. You're going to actually see mock grants and know what they're requiring for. You're going to know how to look up a grant. You're going to know how to lay out your idea, see the vision, make it plain piece. You're going to learn all that. You're going to literally have hands-on. When you graduate, when you complete, you actually have tests and quizzes, by the way, in Short Course Academy. When you graduate and complete, you actually get a business starter book profile. You get a piece where you actually set up and run a business. You can actually set up and run your own business. Immediately, you'll match it. You can match up with agencies, grant writers, help people, show you how to get clients, TV, infomercial, short film, commercial, social media, show you how to do your social media package, all of that. There's a lot of resolve with Short Course Academy, those things that you'll get to help you out. So our master classes will not just be something. These are where you will actually have professional hand-on people coming in, giving your hand. You won't just see my awesome face with my boyish charm. You'll see awesome people actually helping you get things done. So there'll be a lot of hands-on. You'll see a lot of that. These are online courses, but they're going to be so beneficial because one thing I believe in doing is getting people the real insight, resolve without people being hurt or hindered. So you'll have resources beyond belief. You just will. So our master classes will be awesome at Short Course Academy. Kevin, are you still looking for people to help where you are? So where we are now is in a different location for where we was. We still have the 40-acre farm that's back in Beloit. That's 4 hours south now. Now we're up in the country at our country property, and we'll be doing. But one of the things that we'll be doing that we will be needing help with and people to qualify for. One of the classes that we're going to be teaching at Healing Proper Short Course Academy is how to be an instructor. That's actually one of the classes. So we're literally at some point we have teachers, but we are literally at some point where we're going to be hiring other teachers and or instructors. And then the course that you take to actually instruct courses to learn how to teach these things that we're doing is going to benefit you so much it ain't funny, because you're going to get the insight on all the courses. So one of the bigger courses there is how to become an instructor with Short Course Academy, if that makes sense. That'll allow you to now help yourself, because now you'll be in compliance with having to assist the business and or the school and or the Short Course Academy, and also do your own thing. So everything we lay out is for people to be independent and be on their own, if that makes sense. But the opportunity for you to come on board would also be there as well. Okay. So I want you guys to know that there's a lot of resolve here. We put this together for you so it could benefit you. You'll see another video or piece is going to be sent to your mail talking about episode 2 coming shortly. And we'll get episode 2 out right away. And then we'll probably try to bring them every other day or every other week. We just allow enough time to work with people there. Because you're going to see lots of money, and I'm going to show you lots of grants at different levels. And don't be shocked when I show you some $50 million grants that you can apply for when you have a business plan and or team and a board in order. So I'll show you, I can teach you how to structure a board. We can teach you all of these things. In Short Course Academy, you'll be getting all that, how to lay everything out and have all those things already. Because when you start applying for grants at that level, they're going to ask you for your board. Who's your board? Who's your bank? What do you have done? Who's your partners? All those things. You have to have all that turned in, okay? So that kind of thing. Let me read this question. Let me see if I can get it right here. It says, so if you're not sure which business to start because I have experience in multiple areas and not sure where to start, the masterclass will help the masterclass will help you pursue, lay out what it is you want to do. So what I find out from you is what's your desire? What is it you want to do? On my background, when I say I was an industrial investigator, my background was in businesses. And I would go out to various businesses and do various things I can't tell you about, but that was my background. So I learned how people buy, how businesses sell, produce, reproduce, how to make money, things they kept from you all. You now get that from me. I show you the insights on how to create money, how to make money, how to do all those kinds of things. Okay. So Healing Proper Short Course Academy is going to benefit you with these. We have literally over 80 courses. But you'll see certain courses start at certain times, and then you can take multiple courses. But you're going to get an A to Z. You're going to get the full insight. There is so much resolve that I'm excited. You guys know how I talk. I get excited. I'm excited with our team to be able to teach and share these things with you guys so you guys can become independent immediately. That's like immediately, but faster. Immediately. Okay, I'm definitely interested in instruction and instructor for training. Absolutely. That's an awesome course. I'll give you a little insight on that. The school also has a superintendent. We have all kinds of fun things there. But what happens as an instructor, you get a whole insight on all these courses, how to teach these courses, how to instruct the courses, the test, the quiz, insight on how to get resolved, how to look up things, how to stay fresh with what's current as the economy and everything changes. The instructor gets all this in addition to being able to teach and have fun with everybody, keeping track of tests. For people that's attending Short Course Academy, Short Course Academy is going to also have you probably all heard of something called Angie's List, where also all the people, as you are now successful entrepreneurs or seeking to do things in your own business, whether it be not-for-profit or what have you, will have a bank and a database that's made available to the public so that people can call each other and get resolved and get help from them. So this is designed to help you guys just walk right through life just a little bit easier with the time that God allows us to have here. Brother Kevin, how can I get help to develop my land for country living, like surveying the property and putting I think it says infrastructure like water supplies and road. There are grants for that as well. There literally is grants for that. So as we start to talk and communicate, you might need to book a consult, seriously, because there are grants literally for rural development. There are rural development grants. There are rural development grants. They literally want to pay people to move to the country, okay, to develop land for agriculture, to grow food, to take back to the urban area and sell it. There are grants available for you. So how can you get that? You need to call me. But those grants are available. If you register with a lot of those grant sites, again, getting away from me, because people say, y'all churches be after people money. Getting away from me, I show you how to do it on your own. Go to those websites and then punch in those grants and look at those grants. And that's right there. Now, if you need help with all that kind of fun stuff, I prefer you come to me so we can keep you on the up and up, and that you seek not the counsel of the ungodly. Get somebody that's going to really help you, okay? Seriously. When to register for the classes. That's going to start as early as next month, October. I wanted to start some of those classes right now as we get our classroom pieces set up for the virtual piece. But some of those I can do. I'm going to be doing those via Zoom because some people are ready to go right now. So I'll be introducing those lists out very shortly, and some of those we're going to do via Zoom. So we can get those going right now and get you all in class. And then when we put up the criteria, we want to lay that out so that there's enough time for people to register for various classes. So we'll know how many people we got in each segment. That way we know how to place those out in time as we start developing even more instructors and bringing more instructors in to do things for you. So I want to make sure things are beneficial for you all so that you don't miss out on anything. You won't take a test or a quiz that you don't know the answers to. It'll be right there. It's not something we're going to give you or we're going to make hard for you to understand that. We want you to be super duper compliant and aware with laws, with statutes, with licenses that you'll need, with all these kinds of things. So when you take the class at Healing Proper Short Course Academy, when you will know what you need to do in your state and or region and or area to apply. Matter of fact, we'll give you great insight on how to go ahead and get those licenses and everything almost before your course ends or right at the end or wherever you want, whenever you're ready to start or launch. Get those things first, because if you're talking about a food business, because we have catering on the entry level and on a professional level, electricians on the entry level, on a professional level. We have all kinds of business that you can start. But with those, you want to know where your compliance is. Some businesses we can teach you virtually, but you'll actually have to do the hands-on yourself with other things. Like we teach everything about heavy equipment, everything about heavy equipment, except we don't have the heavy equipment. There's criteria and curriculums that we have, but there's other criteria that you'll have to have. And then you know where to go to get the rest of follow-ups of what you need. So hang in there. A lot of great stuff is coming your way. Any more questions? Come on, y'all ain't through. So Grant watch Grant episode 0, and then watch Grant episode 1. That's out. Episode 2 is coming very shortly. Are there grants in other countries, e.g. the U.S., that can be applied to Tunis or in other territories? Not usually. Are there grants that can help you in another area that you're in, usually like a whole nother country? Not usually. However, and I did it however, if people write their salaries into grants, you can use, your salary to launch something somewhere else. Or if you're launching something that can be a universal help, like our Short Course Academy, then we can also hire people in other countries to teach this course in these courses in other languages. Therefore, I can put that in the grant. So if I'm doing something like a food import-export business that I got through a grant, I get enough money now that I can support those other countries and support you and that other country for you to be the person that meets the food when it gets off the ship, boat, or plane, however, and do the distribution, those kinds of things. But there's all sorts of kind of things that we can do to work with our brothers and sisters all over the place. So let me know where you're at specifically. We'll do research on what we can find to assist you and or help you. And we'll bring things to you in our in our shows as much as we can, as much as we can get to you. How did you all like this format versus Zoom? Zoom, I get to talk with a lot of you, but here I get to read the chats pretty much. But this is a format that allows me to put more on the screen and share more with you. So is this okay? So I will want a good reply from you guys. If not, we try to go back. But this is going to be new. This is going to allow me to get out there with a whole lot of other people and make a lot of things easier for you all. Okay. So there's a lot coming up. Let me read this. Is TAP going to be attending Agra in Glen Rose, Texas in January? Can you please get some information to me for that, please? Can you get some information to me for Agra? And then it's in Texas in January. And it might be awesome. That might be awesome. Thank you, Margarita. That might be awesome, Agra, but I need to do a little bit more research if you don't mind, and then we can set up something. I'm going to miss, and I'm still on the edge here. I got some things coming up. I hate that I'm going to miss being in Tennessee because Exodus to the Journey has a big piece coming up there, camp meeting, so you all don't miss it. There's like lots of camp meetings. I think 3 of them there in Tennessee this month. I think one is already passed. One's going on and one's coming up at the end of the month. So there's a lot of camp meetings, a lot of things that's going on there. Okay, so you guys look out for that. So we'll start to do things a lot faster. You'll see the ministry start growing on the 11th, I believe, the 11th and 12th of next month is Brothers to Brothers 4, and there's really a 2-day event, but on the Sabbath is Brothers to Brothers. That's mostly for men. on Sunday, we're going to open that up for families, because on Sunday, it's a 2-day event, because on Sundays, we're going to be dealing with a lot of finance, a lot of things like what we're talking about now, a lot of resolve, a lot of businesses and setting things up, because I don't want people to have any need. I want every need to be met as best we can to help you financially. And that's what Sunday's going to be, is we're going to open up a lot of things to you that people have never shared with you before. So it's going to be brothers to brothers. So Sabbath on that 11th, I believe it is, 11th or the 12th, that Sabbath is for men only. Okay, for men only. And then we'll do a family day that Sunday. Okay, that's going to be open to the whole family. So be ready for that very next month. And I'm telling you, it's going to open up a whole lot of things to you. But first, ladies, you have to understand, we need to address our brothers, talk with our brothers as men. There's so much that we need to change in our life for resolve to be right with God and to be right in our homes. So we request that Sabbath. And then that Sunday, we're going to open up to the whole family, and we're just going to have a great time. Okay, let's go back. Okay, somebody had a question. I just missed it. This is great. Nikita will say this is great. Okay, when starting your agricultural business, would an LLC be good to you for your business under? What entity would be best to file under? LLC is a limited liability corporation. It's awesome, actually, because it does limit you from any kind of liabilities, but that's fine. And it's probably one of the lower price businesses that you can start under. You can actually start with a EIN. You can actually start with an electronic ID number. But having an LLC is so much better, because there's a whole lot of more qualifications and things you qualify for. So that'd be pretty good right there. And then there are grants and lots of money and assistance available for you, actually, to buy the land, to get the equipment, to get the seed, to grow, have the staff and grow the food, transport and sell the food. There's some serious grants out there for you. So that is a good one. Okay. LLC is awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Another question. Yeah, so there's a lot of goodies out there for you. So I don't want you guys to miss anything. So I hope this has been a blessing for you guys. If you got anything else, let me know before we leave. But I just want all you guys to be happy to know that you're going to get some resolve. Healing Proper LLC Short Course Academy. These are courses that you don't have to waste time with it. These are courses that's designed to be 8 to 12 weeks. It's 1 hour a day for that, on 1 day a week. So you either 8 courses or 12 courses. And with the short courses, if they do the short courses, it's a few dollars higher, but it's 4 weeks and it's 2 hours that night of each week, one night or day of each week. Okay. But we want to make sure we maximize those before we move down to the 4 hours. To the 4 week course, I should say. We want to make sure the numbers right with people, so that our teachers, our instructors aren't wasting time. We want to make sure everything's there. But we like the 8 week piece, so we can 8 to 12 weeks, because some of the courses going to require extra learning, more goodies. Some of the courses come with speakers, like I said, live speakers that are professionals in the field or area. We'll be having legal help. The accountant for non-accountants. That accounting course is so awesome that it's not funny. It literally takes you where you don't know how to be accountant to teach you almost quite a bit on accounting, because you're going to have your own business. So we got you. Okay. Thank you. It says I will reach out ASAP. We'll be looking forward to you. Make sure, Dottie, you guys text me. Text me, Kevin, this is Dottie. I was in the class, blah, blah, blah. Give me a call. This is what I'm interested in. Give me all your details when you text me, my family. That way I know what to look up and what to have ready for you when I call you, when I talk to you. And then when you book a consult with any of our team members, the same way. When you book a consult, have everything laid out so it's not wasting, so you don't waste that time. When we find out who you're booking that consult with, that person would go ahead, you tell them what you're looking for. That person will get get pre-prepared. So when they give you the first phone call to confirm everything, because we like to confirm with people before we actually do the consult. We like to confirm with you. Then we know everything we need to talk with you with. If you text us all that, put all that in there, when we actually make that call, your time that you book for that consult is not wasted, not a minute. And you do not have to use, if you got an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hour, 8 hour consult, you do not have to use all that right away. Use what you want then and save the rest for later. So again, we can do more research and get back with you so your time is not wasted. Okay. So I want to thank everybody here. If there's no more questions, I'll allow another minute to see if there's any more questions. If not, we're going to pray. And then very shortly, when you guys get a chance, watch episode 0, watch episode 1, and then episode 2 is coming your way. And then you guys get ready tomorrow or later today, I should say, because even in the morning was the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, and fifth day, preparation day. is here. So get ready for preparation day and have a happy Sabbath. Any more questions? If not, then we'll pray. And if they pop up, then we go. Okay, so I got you. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, God in heaven, we thank you for this stream. God, thank you for the people that are here, my brothers, my sisters, your family, your children. God, you said, feed my sheep, feed my lambs. God, we hope that, God, we fulfill that request, God, that we've helped and blessed your people, God. God, we ask you that, God, to give them the right heart and the right mind, God, to fulfill this, God. Give them the desires of their heart, God, as long as their mind is stayed on you. Let us be a help and a blessing. God, bless the grant givers. God, bless the philanthropists, God, and the foundations that donate and give this money yearly. Bless our people that they have the right mind to receive it and do right things with it and prosper, God, and that they put you first, that they don't remember, or that they don't forget, I should say, that they don't forget to do their tithing, to do their tithing. So, God, we just thank you, and the offerings and they give, that they don't forget to bless others. So, God, we just thank you now. We send these prayers up to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, in the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. In Jesus' name we pray. God, keep everybody under your wing. In Jesus' name, amen. So thank you, guys. Thank you for coming out. We hope you guys had a great time. I'm going to go ahead and cut this so you guys can go ahead and watch it at your leisure. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks. We do this bi-weekly. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And don't forget, we got a lot more coming. So pay attention to your emails. And then episode 2 is on the way for those grants that move you from 25,000 up to the hundreds of thousands. And then we elevate from there. God bless you all. Have a good night.